And I tell you what, it is so much easier to come up with new content when you know, okay, I want to drive people to my email list. I want to drive people to my planner. I want to drive people to my website, whatever it might be. And if you can post it really makes your to-do list become so much more simpler when you have this marketing template.
Hey friends, and welcome to the Girl Means Business podcast. I'm your host, Kendra Swalls, a photographer and educator on a mission to help you find your passion, power, and purpose through entrepreneurship. So let's jump right into today's episode because this girl means business. Hey guys, welcome back to the Girl Means Business podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in again this week. I know it's kind of hard to tune in when your schedules all look a lot different than they usually do. It's a little unnerving to see the numbers drop, but I know that a lot of you listened on your commute or while the kids were in school or while you were at the gym working out, and all of those things have gone away. And so I get it. It's hard. The other day I opened my podcast app and realized I had about 15 podcasts that I needed to catch up on. And so luckily I've been having nice weather here in the DFW area, and so I can go for walks in the evening. And that's how I'm getting in my podcast listening. Still not quite caught up, but I'm getting there. In other great news, it's officially May, which means we can leave behind the month of April, which felt like about 6 years long, and just kind of erase it from the year 2020, if that's okay with everybody. If we can just agree that April did not exist this month or this year, then we'll be doing good. I have my fingers crossed that May is going to get better. And one thing that's going to make it better is I have some really, really exciting news. Now, a while back, I kind of mentioned, I can't remember what episode it was in, but I talked a little bit about kind of some failures that I'd had in my business, some things that just didn't pan out the way I'd hoped they would. And I think we can all relate to that. We've all had those things in our business. And in reality, there's going to be more. I don't think any business out there can say they have been without failure. And I learned a lot from the failures that I've had in my business. And one in particular was a program I launched last fall that was a membership service. And I launched it without really having a clear vision for what I wanted it to be. I was just kind of throwing things together and putting it out into the universe, which is not always a bad thing. That's how I work best in my business. I get an idea and I run with it. However, with this particular idea, I needed to hit the pause button and really figure out what my vision was for this program. And so now I am super, super excited to let you know that the all-new Business Builders membership is officially open for registration. So let me tell you a little bit about the vision and the idea behind Business Builders. Over the last 7 years of building my photography business and now building the podcast business and the education business, I have invested a lot of money into courses and workshops and ebooks and mentor programs and all of the things. And while some of them were really beneficial, a lot of them went unfinished. Guys, I can't tell you how many courses I purchased, got really, really excited about, dove headfirst into, only to get about halfway through and abandon ship. Just recently, I signed up for a program where I spent $2,000 on a program, and I have not made it past the first module. So I started asking myself, why? Why are these not working for me? And why am I hearing that a lot of other business owners are having the same issue? They're buying into all these courses and then not doing anything with the content. Either they don't finish the course or they don't know how to implement the content they received in the course. So I really started looking long and hard at the courses I had signed up for and the problems I was seeing with those. And what I realized was that a lot of times these courses and these programs and these workshops, they throw so much content at you. And you're expected to go through all this content on your own, implement it on your own, and it's just overwhelming. It's too much. It's like walking into a college course to have your professor hand you a syllabus and a textbook and say, here you go, you have an entire semester to figure it out. I guarantee you, if my professors had done that in college, I would not have learned a single thing because I don't have the dedication it takes to sit down and weed through that. That's why I've paid somebody else to tell me what to do. So what I've decided to do is to take the approach like what a professor in a college class would do. You go to class every week and you get little bite-sized pieces of information that all fit together to help you understand the content better. So what Business Builders is designed to do is it's going to give you monthly content, bite-sized, easy to consume, and super easy to implement content that you can use right away so that you start to see instant results in your business. You start to see that these things that you're doing that are easy to work through and implement are making a difference in your business. And instead of throwing it all at you in 1 month, you're getting bits and pieces of it spread out over the course of your membership. Now, this is not a 6-month or a 12-month membership. This is an ongoing program. There is no end date in sight. So you can be a member as long as you need and as long as you want access to your content. So let me break it down for you a little bit more. You sign up for the Business Builders membership and you get access to the Learning Library. This means that this is your home base for all the content you are going to receive within the membership program. Now, when you log in, you're going to have access to a welcome kit and you'll have access to all the content that's already been released. So as of today, you have the welcome kit and you have the April content and the May content in your Learning Library. Now, the April content is all about finding your ideal client. It really dives deep into who your ideal client is, how you can figure it out, how you can understand her pain points so that you can better market to her, how to find out where she spends her time online and offline so that you know how to find her in your community and in your online communities, how to connect with her. It's not just about who is your ideal client, it's how to figure out who your ideal client is so that you can then make those connections and build a relationship with her and then ultimately make it into a working relationship. Included in the April content, you have a video tutorial, you have the ideal client workbook, you have content to help you post to social media, you get free stock photos each month, you get a marketing plan, and a monthly homework assignment. You also have access to the Business Builders Inner Circle Facebook group where I will be in there helping you the entire way. I'm answering questions, I'm doing Q&A sessions, coaching calls. You can post your ideal client questions in there. You can post your business ideas, you can get feedback, you can share success, you can share your failures. It is a place where you can truly open up and grow your business alongside other amazing women doing the exact same thing you are. Now, the May content is all about social media. It's Social Media 101. So you're going to be learning about which platform is best for you based on your ideal client profile. Not based on which platform is the most popular, but where is your ideal client spending their time? We're going to talk about which platforms are great for which content, how to post to the different platforms based on what they require when it comes to how their users interact with the content. You're going to get social media content templates, more stock images, a marketing plan, and of course, that monthly homework assignment. Guys, there's so much built into this, and I am just getting started. I have got big plans for Business Builders. Big plans. Trust me when I say big plans because they are huge. And while Business Builders is still new, it is still something that it's a learning process and it's going to grow and evolve. So you can get in right now on the ground floor. You can become a founding member. And what that means as a founding member is that you are one of the first ones in the door. You're going to get discounted pricing for the entirety of your membership, not just discounted the first month. I'm talking discounted for the life of your membership. You're also going to have the opportunity to become an affiliate. That means that you can share Business Builders with all of your other Boss Babe friends, and you earn money back, cash back in your pocket when they sign up for Business Builders. Guys, these are the kinds of things that will not be available forever and will not be available for everyone. But because I love my Girl Means Business community and all of you that have been listening to this podcast and all of you that have supported me in this journey, I want to reward you with the opportunity to get in on Business Builders at the ground level. Because trust me, as the content gets added, the price is going to go up in the future, and you want to lock in this low price right now. So when I launch this completely to the public, it's going to be $27 a month. And already that is a steal. But as a founding member, you can get it for $17 a month. $17 a month, guys. That is crazy for what you're getting. You're getting monthly marketing and business content around business topics that are going to help you grow your business. You're going to get social media content. You're going to get stock images. You're going to get marketing plans, and you're going to get access to the community where you're going to basically have access to me whenever you need me. I'm going to be bringing in other experts that are going to be lending their expertise to the group. We're going to have coaching calls and Q&A sessions and all kinds of amazing things. Again, when I said I have big plans, guys, just wait. You're going to want to see what goes on inside of this program. It's going to be amazing. I am super, super excited for it. I hope you're excited too. I'm going to put the link in the show notes along with the founding members discount code. But if you want to check out more information, go to girlmeansbusiness.com/business builders, all one word, business builders. And the code is founders10, founder 10. All right, guys, I am so excited. I can't wait to see you inside of the Business Builders program. If you have any questions about the program, feel free to reach out to me. But let's go ahead and get into today's show. Okay, guys, today I am chatting with Chelly Ontis. She is amazing. I will tell you right now that you'll hear me talk about this in the interview, but when we were chatting, I do this through Zoom, like video chats. And so I love to do that because I want to see the person's face. I want to make that connection. And as soon as she logged in on her video, I was just in awe of her office space. She is an organizational pro to begin with, but on top of that, her space was like a dream crafter room. I mean, it was just incredible. And we are talking all today about posting with a purpose. So she has created this amazing entrepreneur planner, and I ordered one and I have it here in front of me, and I am using it as we're going through the interview. But guys, if you are looking for something that is going to help you plan out your social media content, this is the planner for you. And I have gone through so many planners trying to find something that would help me get organized in my posting schedule. And most of the planners I came across were really great for planning like your daily schedule of activities. But when it comes to social media planning and planning out content for all different platforms, I needed something that was specifically geared towards that. And the Entrepreneur Planner does that. Like, she took the vision I had in my head and put it into life. Like, she gave life to it. And so we're talking about not only her planner, but we're just going to be talking about what and when to post on your content so that it gets noticed, so that it helps people, that it adds value, and it builds that know, like, and trust factor. And I think that she's got some really amazing tips for us. So I can't wait for you to hear about it. So let's go ahead and jump into my conversation with Chelly Ontis. All right, guys, I'm here with Chelly Ontis, and we are talking today all about getting organized with your social media, your content, and using her amazing planner to help you get organized and stay on top of all the things that you are putting out into the world. So Chelly, hi there. Welcome to the Girl Means Business podcast. Thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here, and I love talking about marketing, so I'm excited for today too.
Well, I want to really quickly tell everybody a little bit, because I'm looking at you on the screen, and I told you before we started recording that I love your workspace. It's so stinking cute. So you obviously are really into crafting and being creative, and you're very organized, it looks like, too, because you're in like a little craft room, and I'm super jealous of this right now.
Oh, funny. I hear that a lot. And people say it's so clean, but before I go live, I like to put the piles on the floor. I didn't remove them all, but
that's what we all do.
I've been crafting and scrapbooking and card making using my Cricut for more than 20 years now, I think. So
yeah, that's awesome. Well, it's just a super cute little space you have there. So it looks really fun.
yeah, I'm excited every time I come in here. It's inspiring. So.
Yeah. Well, that's all, because I was just chatting with a lady about creating a space that inspires you and gets you to feel creative. And so now I have kind of my feelers out for people who have really great creative spaces, because I want to create that for myself. So that's one of the first things I noticed, was that you have this really great space that you work in.
Right. And especially where we're at today, there's so many people that are thrown into their homeschooling now, and they're working at home and they're trying to find a place to relax. And that's one of my tips from working at home after 22 years. I've been doing graphic design for 22 years freelance now. And that's probably one of the best tips, is to make sure you have a space that you can, lock yourself into if you need to right now to keep the kids out, but also it's something that you can walk away from. Because it's not fun. If you lived at your office, how miserable would that be?
Yeah, that's true. You have to have, you don't get to clock out when you work from home. But you do need to have that place where you can walk away from it and not feel like it's in your face 24/7. That's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah. And I do sometimes just jump in here then after hours per se, and then I'll just write something down and leave again. So it's convenient, but it also needs to have boundaries.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So before we get into our conversation today, I want you to tell a little bit about who you are, share with our listeners about what you do, and kind of the journey that got you to where you are today.
Sure. So I was a graphic designer. I worked in a print shop, and then went to an agency at a local business, and they ended up closing like 30 days after I started. So I started freelancing in the late 90s. And it just seems so weird to say that. Like, it seems so long ago. So I got married, and I had 2 kids after I started my business. So it was great. I had 2-3 years before I had kids. And now I have a junior in high school and a freshman in college.
Wow.
We're all home. And then I also have 3 stepkids too. So there's also another high schooler and 2 college kids. And I'm a newlywed. But
oh, wow.
I've been doing graphic design and helping people with marketing locally. And then in 2016, I took my efforts online when I got divorced and needed to find another outlet, and then also another revenue stream, and trying to organize both the online portion of my business and then the graphic design clients I've had for the last 20 some years. I still have the majority of the same clients. And it was just a lot to do. And I would start to schedule out on my We Can Make That page. I do digital files for my Cricut that's back here behind me, and people can go download them. We can make cards, scrapbook pages, custom t-shirts, things like that. And We Can Make That. And I would be throwing stuff online and trying to do it all with working as, almost a full graphic designer. And I'd end up with like 2 Facebook posts of the same thing, like on the same day or like right after each other, because I forgot I scheduled it, or, I scheduled it twice by, there was just so many things to keep track of that ran the business and that needed to be organized. And then I went through a ton of planners trying to figure out which one's going to work. And then I ended up writing in there every day all these marketing checklist items, these business checklist items and tasks and things like that. And then before you know it, you spend all your time writing down what you have to do and then you don't have time to do it. So that's kind of the story of how it landed to be this entrepreneur planner, which has had so many fun success stories. It's been great to be a part of. And I really just made it for me, took it to a local print shop, and then ended up sharing it with a couple people. And they were like, you need to sell these. I'm like, I have enough to do. But yeah, it's definitely led me to a new avenue in my business that I love. And I've been able to bring on a couple other people to help me with my team. So it's been a win-win in more than one way.
Well, that's so cool. And I love when, I think it's really important to kind of be open to where our journey takes us, because like for you, that wasn't the path you originally had planned to go down, but obviously it's been successful and it's been something that people really love. And I mean, I have one sitting right in front of me and it's so great. We were chatting a little bit before I hit record, but kind of my story with this coming across this is I'd been looking for a planner, going into the new year. I was like, I really need to get organized because I'm not organized by nature. It's not something that comes naturally to me. I'm very like kind of fly by the seat of my pants. I'm like, oh, let's go this direction. Let's go that direction. And I will be laying at bed at night, and I usually read before I go to bed, and I'll be reading something. Like the other night, I'm reading Atomic Habits, and there was a line. It's so good. There was a line that jumped out, and I was like, oh, I want to create a social media post on Instagram post about this idea. And I like got on my phone, I opened up my scheduler, and I like jotted it down. And the next day I went back and looked at it, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's basically like drunk texting in the middle of the night. Like when I'm doing these things, like I need to have something like a buffer to stop me from just like vomiting information onto my Instagram feed. Right. And so I was like, I need to have a way to be more organized and more prepared and plan ahead. And so I had gone through looking at every possible planner I could find. And I was showing you, like I had ordered one of the Plum planners because someone told me like, you can customize it, and nothing against Plum planners. They're beautiful. They're great.
They are very pretty. Yeah,
they are. And I was able to go in and like customize, like the different columns and all that kind of stuff. But when I got it, for one, it's really thick and bulky, and I need something that is a little more portable, I guess, a little less like heavy duty.
Yeah. Easier to manage. I think people call this their business notebook.
Yes, exactly.
It's so easy to take around and use.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wanted something I could like throw in my bag with my laptop. And if I go work at a coffee shop, I can still have it with me. And it doesn't feel like I'm carrying around like a whole nother like accessory of some kind. Yes, exactly. So I got my Plum planner in the mail, and it's beautiful, but I found myself not really using it because even in the spaces I created, I didn't have really what I needed in order to put down the information I wanted. So when I came across yours, and I love how, I know people can't visually see this, but I'll try to share some posts on Instagram of mine to show them. It's broken up by day, vertically. But then what I love about it is it's not just like an empty box. It's hourly, because I wanted something that I could say, okay, at this time I'm going to post to Facebook, but then at this time I'm posting to Instagram, and then at this time I'm having a blog post go live, or my podcast goes live on this time. And I could have multiple things in one day, or I'm doing a Facebook Live in my, my VIP group or whatever it might be. And I just color code it, and I just go down. I'm like, okay, at 9 a.m., this is going to go live. And then at 10:45, this is going to go live. And I can see what my day looks like as a whole picture. It's been really, really nice. And then I know we'll get into all this in a little bit, but the other part I love is that you have kind of these built-in like checklists of things that you need to get done throughout the week. And so a lot of times I'll put on there, I think you have like lives that are scheduled, and sometimes I'll change that to like a blog post, or if it's going to be, like I'm doing a virtual workshop coming up. So maybe that's what I have going on this week. And so it's very customizable to that. I love it.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
If you've been listening to the Girl Means Business podcast for any amount of time, then you know my love of email marketing runs deep. Not only is it a great way to generate new leads, but it's one of the most effective methods for nurturing warm leads and turning them into sales. Now, over the years, I've tested several email platforms, and my favorite by far is Flowdesk. Not only do they make email marketing simple and easy, even for the technically challenged, but they have everything you need to create stunning emails, capture leads, make sales, and automate the entire process, giving you time back in your busy day. And the cherry on top is you're only charged one flat fee no matter how many subscribers you have. So while other platforms will increase your price when you go over your pricing tier limit, Flowdesk has no price increases or hidden fees. If you're ready to give Flowdesk a try, click the link below in the show notes to save 50% off your first year. Let Flowdesk help you design emails people will love. Click the link below and check it out. I have a feeling you're going to love it just as much as I do.
Yeah, and I'm finding people spend so much time putting all those tasks in their planner that we just don't get to the actual meat of running the business.
Yes.
And that's what it was designed for. It's truly for the podcaster or the blogger, influencers, Etsy store, Facebook shop owners, online businesses, or even just social media managers, people here locally that I help them with I manage Facebook pages and stuff like that, and social media marketing, and the people that I work with have bought it. So, and they also love, like you said, the daily time schedule part that you can put in your dentist appointment, and Sally has soccer practice and Timmy has football practice, and there's also room for that in your personal life. So then there's also room to make sure you can mesh in the two together. And that's what the right-hand side page, like you talked about, where it breaks out on your weekly view, where you can schedule your lives or your YouTube channels or your podcasts or, your collaborations with other businesses when you're influencers. And then it also makes sure there's a spot so you make sure that you're promoting things that you've already done. So
Oh, I know. I love that. Like, like repurposing your content, because that's so easy to forget to do.
Right. And then you get stressed about, I have to make new. And you forgot that if 5% of those people are seeing your Facebook post, although there's way more people online right now, but even so, there's such a small fraction that saw your post a month ago. So you can tweak it just a little bit and throw things back out there again. It saves you so much time, but keeps you in front, right in front of that customer. And I'll share a success story with you guys. So a friend of mine, she has bridepath.com. I hope that's okay. I give her a shout out too. And she helps brides plan their wedding and get all those little tasks done. So kind of the DIY wedding planner. And she was using it on her page. She had like 50,000 reach. And I sent her the prototype and I'm like, this is what I'm looking at doing. Try it and see. So she tried it for, I think it was 5 months. And she went from 50,000 engagement to 500,000.
Wow.
And she didn't do anything except use the planner to create consistent new content. And it wasn't always new content, because a lot of it was that repurposed and stuff that her people hadn't seen. So it's crazy how just being able to sit down every day and check the boxes. And, I sit down once a month and I go through my marketing checklist. And if people are like, what's a marketing checklist? We can put that in the show notes, because I have one on the website at wecanmakethat.me that they can grab.
Yeah.
And it gives them all the steps so that they know, what should I be doing? And then the planner also pushes you. So those things you weren't doing, and maybe you were only posting on your page twice a week, and now it's prompting you to do it every day. So I encourage people to go through and say, you're going to pick 3 days to start posting consistently. And then in 2 weeks or whatever it is, when you're comfortable with that, get them scheduled, you can bump back up and do 5 days a week. And so it helps you grow your business that way too. It's like having a marketing coach on your team every day.
Yeah. Well, and
sitting
definitely
on your desk.
Yes, exactly. No, even better. Don't have to go anywhere. Don't have to put pants on.
Right.
Yeah. And I'll definitely link to that checklist you mentioned in the show notes so people can go grab that. Because I know for me, one of my biggest struggles is just having things in so many different places. I use Asana is kind of my way of organizing my content. So like, for example, with the podcast, I have boards where I kind of go in and I list all of the different podcast episodes and all the links in the synopsis, and everything's kind of in one place for that episode. And I have it by the month. Well, I've done the same thing like with my wedding photography blog. I have an Asana board where I have all of the content I've created for brides. So I have blog posts that I've done. I have free downloads that they can get. I have paid content they can purchase. Like, everything's in one place. But then if I want to go take that and like repurpose it into a Facebook post or an Instagram post, I have to go over to my scheduling tool. Or if I want to go and look at like what email marketing I've done or what I've sent out to my email list, I have to go to my email campaign list. So I was jumping around to all these different places, and things were getting lost in the process. So like, I would forget. I'd be like, oh yeah, I had that really great blog post about, how to ask your maids to be part of your wedding day. Well, after the first of the year, after Christmas and New Year's, a lot of new brides have just gotten engaged. That's a great time to start sharing some of those resources. And I'd forgotten all about it because in the mix of going back and forth to all these different places, it was hard to keep up with what have I already shared? What have I not shared? What do I still have? And being able to have it all in one place is going to be a game changer, because I won't have to worry about like, oh yeah, I already posted that last week. I don't want to repost it right away. Let me find something else to put in its place. Or being able to say, oh, you know what? It's March or April, and I haven't posted about this yet this year. Like, why have I not posted this?
Yeah. I think in a lot of people who use and this is the second year I've done it. So a lot of people have the 2019 planner. When they sit down once a month and do their marketing, they grab their 2019 and see what content was hot and then what content was fresh and, was because you forget that, I should
Yeah.
be posting those, in January, like you said, I should be posting those things about asking people into my wedding. And you're so into January and New Year that,
Mm-hmm.
it's so you use less brain power with it. So I'd love to say that our brains are made for ideas, not storage. So
Yes.
this helps get that out. And it's kind of like the journaling and all that, where you can only keep so much in your head all day long and you have to send the birthday certificate and pick up the new retainers and
Mm-hmm.
get toilet paper and groceries and everything else right now. And so if you could just look at your planner and say, this is what I did last March, here's what I am going to do this March. And
Mm-hmm.
then it organizes all those things. So when you do have 20 minutes or 15 minutes to sit down, you know exactly what you should be doing.
Yeah. Well, I think that's interesting too, because I hadn't thought about that as far as comparing last year's to this year's, but being able to do, obviously this being my first year, I'm writing this down, but next
Right.
year being able to go back, it makes me almost want to go in and even like next to the content, put like how it performed. Like maybe even say like, hey,
True.
I posted this and it was a huge hit. People loved it, or like find a way to kind of highlight it or put some kind of little symbol next to it to say like, this was great. Or, hey, maybe I need to, put a little sad face. Maybe this one needs to be repurposed in a different way because it didn't work the way I did it. I think that's a really great learning tool too, because, we always start at the beginning of the year and we have this reflection period of, well, how did our last year look and how did things go? But we look at that very big picture, we look at it very much like,
Right.
well, this big launch that I did performed this way, or this product that I put out there performed this way. But if you can really get down to like the nitty gritty of like, how did my content perform and what content really did well, that's going to help you going forward the next year. And this would be a great way to keep up with that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the very first page kind of lets you map out some of those topics so you don't forget, I need to do some graduation cards for my
Mm-hmm.
DIY website, those kind of things, put them into perspective. And then the the planner is a template for your marketing plan. So I always tell people to sit down one time a month and then recheck in with your planner at the end of every week. Make sure you have things organized. But if you sit down once a month and you are thinking, okay, I want to build up my email list by 200 new subscribers. Well, okay, that's great. But at the end of the month, a lot of people don't get there because every time they post it on their Facebook page, they were thinking about, what do I need to post now? Because I need to post today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you can sit down on, the last week of the month, plan your next month or your next 2 months, it doesn't take that long, usually 30, 40 minutes, and I have it done now.
Yeah.
And actually our planner comes with free training. There's training tutorials and I can share that group. People can jump in and check it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it'll help you walk out that whole step. So if you want to grow your email list, now you have, an end goal. So what are you going to do towards that? You're going to do 3 posts this week and 3 posts next week that all link to your email list and talk about the benefits of your email list. And then when you're posting with a purpose. So you're entertaining them and you're giving them value, but you're posting with a purpose for your business, which is what's going to grow your business in the end. So
I love
that was
that.
kind of the whole purpose of it. And I tell you what, it is so much easier to come up with new content when you know, okay, I want to drive people to my email list. I want to drive people to my planner. I want to drive people to my website, whatever it might be. And if you can post with, it really makes your to-do list become so much more simpler when you have this marketing template right in your planner. And then,
Yeah.
like I said, you can fit in, your dentist appointments and all those other things too.
Well, I always say, and I love what you just said, the posting with a purpose. I think that's that's probably going to end up being the title of this episode, by the way, now that you said that. But, I think back to when I was first starting with social media and trying to put information out there. And I was just kind of throwing things at the wall and being like, let's see what sticks. And it was posting on the fly. It was, okay, what's my mood today? What's this? What's that? And I was missing out on so many opportunities. And I I have this little saying of like shiny thing syndrome. I think that some people,
Girl.
we get very distracted by all the opportunities out there, and it's easy to go on social media, and especially right now with so many people kind of taking advantage of the time that they have to build their business online and to have create an online presence, and they're posting more and they're putting more content out, and you go online and you see and you're like, oh, this person's doing this. That looks like a really cool idea. I'm going to try it too. And then the next day it's, oh, this person's doing this. Let me try that. And you're not having a purpose or a plan behind what you're putting out on your social media feeds or on your blog or on your podcast or wherever you put content. And it starts to feel very disconnected because it's like you're jumping from one leap pad to the other, but they're not really getting you anywhere.
Right. And then you get just a little trickle. I have a coaching group where we talk about marketing stuff every month, and we have a theme. And I always tell them, go about this where you're focusing on one thing. So think of it as when you're going to play darts and you take one dart, you throw it at the dartboard. Shelly probably wouldn't, but the majority of people are going to hit the dartboard. It take me a few more practices. But if you grabbed, say, all those darts and threw them all at once, chances are someone's going to get one in their foot.
Yeah.
And you're not going to end up with any of them hitting the dartboard. So I always say, think of your marketing plan like that. Focus on one thing. And then, the planner, you don't have to worry about filling all of it in. I hear that a lot where people say, well, I didn't have anything for this section, so I didn't do anything. And I'm like, start with a goal of one thing. Mm-hmm. Can you check off one of the boxes this week and 2 boxes next week or next month or whatever, and just work up to it? And that momentum is going to grow your business so much further than waiting to be the professional to show up.
Well, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this too, because for me, someone who's a self-proclaimed non-organized person, I don't know if there's a term for that, like anti-organized, but it's taken me a lot to get to the point where I can make habits. And like I said, I'm reading that book, The Atomic Habits, and this is on my mind right now. But I am working on these little changes that make a big impact in the long run. And so for someone who comes to you and says, okay, Shelly, I love the idea of what you're doing here. I love the idea of this planner. I love the idea of having all of this, planned out in advance. It feels very overwhelming because you go online, you go on Pinterest, and you see these people who have these elaborate planners where they've drawn pictures and they have, all kinds of stuff color coded and laid out. It's beautiful, but it can feel very overwhelming for people who are not that way by nature. So what tips do you have for someone who's saying like, I want to get to that point, but I need to know the baby steps to get there?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey photographers, are you ready to make 2024 your best year yet? Growing a business is tough. You're following all the successful photographers and experts, soaking up their best advice and downloading all their free guides, trying to replicate their success only to come up lacking, blaming yourself when their methods don't work for you. But the truth is, it isn't you. Free content and one-size-fits-all courses can only get you so far. What you need is personalized help and guidance, but that can get expensive. Well, not anymore. I've created the perfect solution to get you personalized results for less than $2 a day. Introducing the Focus Photographer Lab, a one-of-a-kind coaching membership that gets you one-on-one results for a fraction of the cost of traditional coaching. Inside the lab, you'll find the 3 C's to success: classes, coaching, and community. With classes, you gain access to a treasure trove of pre-recorded trainings and invaluable resources. With coaching, you get monthly live trainings and Q&A sessions, along with my favorite part, the weekly one-on-one office hours, where we get to address your unique questions and challenges. And then there's the community, where you get to connect with an amazing group of talented female photographers who share your passion, supporting each other and inspiring each other to greatness. The best part is it doesn't come with an expensive one-on-one coaching price tag. You get all of that for just $47 a month. You can even try it for free for 14 days to make sure it's a good fit for you. And there is no contract and no obligation. You can cancel at any time. So what are you waiting for? Head down to the show notes and click the link to learn more and get signed up today. And let's make 2024 our best year yet.
I think the first thing is you have to come up with a goal. So what do you need to grow your business right now? Do you just need to show up more online? Do you need to build your email list so you have more people to market to? Do you need to build a website? Do you need to get your Pinterest up and going? Whatever that is, pick one goal and then put it in your planner like your dentist appointment. Like if you don't show up, nothing gets done. So I have somebody helping me with my Pinterest account right now, but I used to go in every Monday. It was scheduled at 9:00. I wrote it in. And if somebody needed a 9:00 appointment from Chelly, then I moved it, but I made sure it was in there. And that was that thing. I get out of my office, which now I guess I'll have to go sit outside, but I get away from everything. I sit down with my planner and I map out, what do I want to accomplish this month? If I'm going to grow my email list, it's not going to grow if I don't put those tasks in my planner. So just thinking about it that way, if you seriously want your business to grow and you're serious about it, all you have to do is add those tasks into your schedule. And that's what the weekly and the Saturday and Sunday, because a lot of people are entrepreneurs, are side hustles. So their Saturday, Sunday becomes a work week for them for their personal business. So I kept that in there, not cutting each day in half or anything. It's got the full space. And if that's where you need to sit down and put in, I'm going to set up an email account and figure out how to start sending automatic emails. And there is on the week or in the monthly view, also facing that page is something new almost every time, where it's encouraging you to your next goal. So a lot of planners have that where it's goals every day and goals every week and goals every month. But if you sit down once a month and see what's your goal and then build those out into step-by-step actions that you can accomplish every day. So it's like the atomic habits. If you could do one thing, if you could do 1% more, and if you can't fit it in every day, that's fine. But maybe you can do it 3 days a week. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be so overwhelming. If I need to sit down and research which email program, or I need to make sure I post a link to my email collection, whatever site or landing page you're using, if you need to make sure you're posting that or talking about it on your social media accounts 3 times a week, then you need to make sure you sit down and put that in your schedule and then put it into play. So again, just having that, okay, this is what I have to do, checklist. But I am such a checklist person. I always joke, I'm the one who writes stuff on the planner so I can cross it off that I did it.
That's so rewarding. It's such a good feeling because I've always done it with sticky notes. Like I have a sticky note on my desktop right now, like telling me things I need to do. And I like it because then I can cross them off. And it's great when you can see like you've crossed off multiple things, Right. But I also find that with me, like I have so much in my head at one time, whether it's between my business and obviously I have 2 businesses, between my photography and then the podcast, the education side, and then the kids and the family stuff and their schedules. And, before all of this quarantine stuff, like we had, softball practices, and before that was basketball and school events. And just, there's always something going on that if I don't write it down, it's probably not going to happen. And I've found myself in my business, like there have been times where I will forget to order somebody's products because like they had ordered products with me from their photo shoot and I didn't, like, I was like, okay, great, I'll get that ordered. And then I get distracted and 2 days go by and I'm like, oh shoot, I didn't order their canvas or I didn't order their album or whatever it was. And I was like, I've got to have a more organized system. And I love what you said too about it's not just about the goal that you write down for the month. It's also about the steps you take to get there. So for me, like if, for example, the building an email list, if my goal for that month is to build my email list and grow my email list, then it's easy for me to say, yeah, I want to grow my email list. But I want to also say like, well, I'm going to do that by posting these free downloads for people to opt into my email list. And I'm going to do that by making sure that my automations are set up. And I'm going to do that by, X, Y, and Z, whatever the other sub things might be, because it's just like going back to that atomic habits. It's not necessarily about the goal. It's about the process you take to get to that goal, because everybody has the same goal. Like the example he gave, and I just read this chapter, which is why I'm going to say this, but the example he gave was, I think the cyclist, the Tour de France. And they were like, everybody has the goal of being the best team. Everybody has the goal. Everybody that's competing has the goal of winning the Super Bowl, Right. But it's about which team put in the work, the steps to get to that goal.
Right. And I think sometimes those little bitty steps where I need to figure out what an opt-in is. I need to create
Mm-hmm.
an opt-in. I have to figure out how to send an opt-in. So those tasks become overwhelming and we do nothing. But I always like to tell my group, if you do just one thing, if you make 1% progress, that's a 365% progress by the end of the year.
Yeah,
So imagine what that does to your business.
absolutely.
So, and
Yeah.
looking at and the monthly views too, as you were saying that it talks about, quarterly goals and stuff like that. And there's also on that monthly view, quite often there's a steps to reach this goal. So
Mm-hmm.
it gives you a little spot you can write those steps out where I have to figure out what an opt-in is. And if that's what you have to write in there, you're going to write that in there, but you're not going to get any further without these steps laid out. And then I always say, don't forget, put them in your calendar. So, Tuesday at 6 a.m. while everybody's sleeping, I am going to get out and take out as much content as I can online about what's an opt-in and how do I best create one. And then I'm going to take those facts and move to the next step. So
Mm-hmm.
it's
Well,
just
and
those little bitty progresses.
one thing I like too, that kind of goes along with that, because I think, and I've said this before on the podcast, and we forget to celebrate little successes. You talk about that 1%, if you do 1% better each day, but we tend to wait until we've hit that 365% to celebrate the progress. And so I love that on your monthlies, you have like your stats boxes. So you can see like is your audience growing with your Facebook and your Instagram and your Pinterest? But what for me, like we talked about the email marketing, like right now, my main focus for this year is my email list and growing my email list. And I forget to look at, well, last month I only had this many, but this month I have this many, because I don't keep track of that. But being able to have this spot in this planner where I can sit down at the beginning of the month and go, okay, right now I have 500 people on my email list. And then my goal is to maybe get it to 550 by the end of the month. And then I can go back at the next month and go, hey, now I'm at 553. But I started at 5 because it's easy to forget where you came from, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And so I love having this space in your planner to track that. Or like you have here, like your open rate, like has your open rate gone up? Little things like that we forget to see as progress because we're waiting for that big moment where it explodes into this great thing, but it's not the big moment. It's the little bitty successes along the way that we need to make sure we're acknowledging and celebrating as well.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
You love listening to podcasts, but have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? Maybe you want to build a brand, grow your business, or are looking for an excuse to talk about your favorite hobby. Whatever your reason for making a podcast, Buzzsprout is the place to start. Since 2009, Buzzsprout has helped over 300,000 people launch their own podcasts. Buzzsprout walks you step by step through the whole process and will give you powerful tools to start, grow, and monetize your podcast. Ready to get started? Click the link in the show notes to get our free step-by-step guide to starting your podcast today.
Right. And I think a lot of times people forget those little bitty steps are what makes the big difference. And it's easy to say, well, I'll get to it later, but jumping into that is such a big part of it. And also, like you're saying about the stats. So as you have them in your book, and you've also that previous 4 weeks, you've written down when you went live and what you talked about and how you posted and your topics and all that. And you can see what you did that made those certain items grow. So usually as a business owner, you can say, well, I did this opt-in and look at how much it made my list grow. And then I promoted it this way and it didn't work. But, then the next month I promoted it this way and that same opt-in is what built up my page. So it's breaking all those little things down and then pushing back again to what brought you that most success and keep adding to that as opposed to just reinventing the wheel every month.
Yeah.
So it helps you give a focus.
And I think too, people get discouraged. And when I say people on here, I'm talking about myself, but
probably me too.
Yeah. But it's true. Like it's easy to get discouraged when, like you said, you promote this opt-in one way, 1 month, and it doesn't get you the results that you want. And you're looking at it going, well, I guess it's just a bad opt-in, or maybe it's, it's just not meant to work out that way.
Right.
But being able to say like, no, it's not a failure. It's an opportunity to learn how to look at it differently, to adjust something. You know, I see so many entrepreneurs who kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater, you know, and since we're on the topic of email marketing, they'll send out one email about a promotion they're having and they don't get any bites on or any leads on it. And they're like, oh, well, email marketing doesn't work for me. Well, no, it's not that it doesn't work for you. It doesn't work for the way you did it that one time. But if you tweak it, if you change how you've done it, or you present it in a different way, or you package it differently, it could have completely different results. And I love that having a system like your planner to keep track of those things, not just the success even, but what didn't work, because you don't want to repeat something that didn't work. That's, you know, what is that? Insanity is doing the same thing over again, expecting different results.
Yeah.
So if you look back and you're like, okay, well, in January, I promoted this one, you know, opt-in this way and it didn't work. And now I have this new opt-in I want to try. And I know that like it didn't really work very well on this one. So maybe I need to take that and kind of improve on it so that I get better results this time than I did the last time. But being able to go back, because we can't keep all that in our heads. It's just not possible, you know, especially when you're doing so many different things, you'll go crazy trying to remember everything. And so I like having a place where your planner, and even if it's not your planner, but just a notebook where somebody can get everything out of your head and onto paper, is so helpful in making sure that we're moving forward and not just spinning in circles on a wheel, you know?
Right. And I think having a template to put all that into is where the planner has created so much success for just so many different niches. It started out where I just marketed it to the tumbler makers and the wreath makers and, you know, the DIY bloggers and those kind of things. But it's grown so much to food bloggers and travel bloggers and those kind of things too. And podcasters, you know, there's 2 or 3 of them that I've just recently talked to that said they love it too. So
yeah, no, it's so great. I love it. I'm so glad I came across it, because it's definitely been, as I just flipped it over and all my papers fell out of it too. I was like, oh, that's the wrong way. But no, it's been really, really helpful. Like knowing like that there's something out there that finally fits what I had envisioned in my head for so long needing. Plus it adds in so many other things that I didn't even realize I needed. Like I said, like the stats and keeping up with, you know, the little growths month to month of how things are improving and what's working and what's not. So thank you for creating this. It's been wonderful.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so excited that it's so fun to hear all those stories out there. And so many people are afraid to jump into the marketing of their business that they just kind of hold back and say, but I don't know. But you don't have to be you don't have to know everything about marketing to market your business.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where having this template is so good. And also, I like to tell people to think about it. If you're going to go on a trip and you get in your car and you don't have a destination in mind, chances are you're not going to get there. Yeah. So if we think of our marketing as the same way, and if you just have to do, you know, 20 minutes a week to make sure you're on track with what you want out of your business, you're going to be so much more successful.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it's definitely helpful to have, you know, something that helps keep you in the direction you need to be going. So, okay. So my kind of wrap up question I like to ask is, so if your best friend came to you today and said, Chelly, I have this business idea. It's this great idea. I want to run with it, but I don't know what to do next. Like, I don't know how to start. What would be your like number one piece of advice that you would give?
I have so many answers for this, but if I was to narrow it down, I would tell them to make sure they define their business. So this goes back to that branding and marketing foundation. So make sure you know what your business is about. And that includes who's your ideal client. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, it's like with the dartboards, they're trying to hit everybody, and then they end up not growing like they wanted to grow. So make sure you have your specific client in mind so you can start talking to her, because that's how marketing works now with social media. And then also make sure you've got some buzzwords lined up, I like to call them, and very similar definition to what SEO is. So before you even start with a website, but when people are searching in social media channels and, you know, Pinterest and all those things, there's those keywords that relate to your business that's going to help you find that ideal client. So I usually send people to a blog post I have when I get that question a lot too, and say, start with these 3 things and don't forget to revisit them, because when you start out as a business owner, and then when you see what a world of opportunity there is out there, your vision for your business grows. And
Yeah.
I always joke that I never would have done anything like this, say 6, 7, 8 years ago. And when I was in high school, which was way more than 6 or 7 years ago, but I took Spanish class 2 years, so I didn't have to do speech. So I'd never have to talk. And now I do branding and marketing presentations all the time, and, chats like this, and then live presentations. And so you never know where you're going to go. And what is in store for you when you start down that entrepreneur road. But
it's so true. Well, and I like that, you kind of touched on that, because I think people hear like, well, know what your business is, and know, like, it sounds so definite, but you have to also understand that it's going to evolve and it's going to change. And as you start to learn more about your audience and you start to learn more about what it is that you really want to hone in on in your business, then it's going to take on a little bit of a different vision for it. And also being open to things that come your way, like with your whole thing with the planner. I mean, this is a perfect example of, it wasn't something you set out to have as a business, but because you saw a need for it, you was able to create something to fill that need. And I think that that's another key thing with, starting a business, is being open to the possibilities of what could come your way. Yeah.
Right. I feel like it's constantly Ross and I on the stairs with the couch.
Yes.
And he's yelling pivot at me, and I'm like, I don't want to.
Well, you've just like completely cemented a friendship with me, because if you can throw in a Friends reference to this podcast, then we are best friends for life, because that's my love language right there.
I know. I so miss it. And I really was hoping when we're all quarantined right now that Netflix would bring it back for us, but I guess we just have to go do our marketing plans.
I know. I was like, so, I've been watching The Office instead, so at least I got something on there. Yeah. Well, Chelly, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing all of your tips and advice. And so tell people how they can find you. Obviously, I'll link to all of your information in the show notes, but let us know how we can get in touch with you or keep track of what's going on with you and your business.
Sure. So the Entrepreneur Planner is on Facebook. So it's just, the Entrepreneur Planner. And then it does say for creatives in some of the spots, but there is also a lot of content, and wecanmakethat.me. And wecanmakethat.me/planner is where a lot of the details, if you want to see closer up of some of the inside pages. And then if you're on Instagram, I love to talk about drinking coffee, sitting in my hot tub, and writing in my planner on there too. And we also do a lot of DIY crafts. And my Instagram is iDesign by Chelly, and Chelly is Chelly.
Perfect. Well, awesome. Well, like I said, we'll have all those in the show notes so people can easily just click the links and find you and follow along with all of your adventures and amazing things you have going on in your business.
Thanks.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Thank you for sharing your little office space with me. So now I can be even more inspired to redo my office space.
Well, thank you so much. Your podcasts are very inspirational too. And I love how it's real. It's just a conversation, and you don't feel intimidated. You can walk away with just some great nuggets. So I've really enjoyed listening to it. So I don't even know how we found each other, but I am so glad that we did.
I don't know, but I would always tell people that's the greatest thing about this podcast, is that it has introduced me to people that I would never have met otherwise. And it's been the greatest joy of this business in general, is just the connections I've made. So however we found each other, I don't know either, but I'm glad we did.
Might have just been good social media marketing. Hint,
exactly. See, there's the proof right there. It works.
Right.
Well, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and we will chat again soon.
Thanks. You too. Bye.
Thank you so much to Chelly for being part of the show. If you are interested in any of the free stuff we talked about or checking out her entrepreneur planner, I will link to that below in the show notes so that you can definitely follow along with her and order one of the planners for yourself. And if you're thinking, well, it's already May and I'm 5 months into the year, do I still need this planner? Yes. Don't wait until the start of the new year to get this planner. You can get it and start working on it now. And like we talked about in the episode, save your planners and use them again to help you next year with what worked, what didn't work, what did you get the most reaction from, and what content did you post that you really liked or didn't like. This is the perfect way to keep up with all that. So go check her out and make sure you grab yourself one of the entrepreneur planners. Thanks again so much for tuning in. And don't forget to go sign up for your Founding Member Business Builders membership account. That Founding Members discount will not last long, so make sure you sign up before it's gone. All right, guys, have a great week, and I will see you back here next week, same time, same place.